Hare Krishna Prabhu, Chesna. Namah Nupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ajatadari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, Hari Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Ram Jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Vaishnava Bhakti Guru ki
Hare Hare. So we'll start with the prayers.
Hare Krishna.
Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishram Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupadhamayam Dadati Sapadandikam Vande Padagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagana Raghunathamitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamsha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunvadi Pasadestane Vancha Kalpadruvesha Kripa Sindhu Evcha Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtase Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagapate Gopsa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapt Kanchan Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Neelachal Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balbhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaye Te Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Hare. So devotees are ready with the group work.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Group 1 ready Prabhuji.
Ready? Okay.
Can we go?
Yes, please.
I need a host to
So just a minute. I'm not getting a. So I have to make you host, but I don't have that permission.
Kalyan Prabhu.
Yes, I'm giving the information.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Do you see my screen, Prabhuji?
It is visible.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm representing with respect to group 1. The task is preface first page and take a second page of Bhagavad Gita as it is. I'm just skipping that initial slides. These are all taken by Prabhuji already. So the task is given to us first 2 pages of preface and identify the aspects of Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission as revealed in the preface to Bhagavad Gita as it is, and discuss the importance of Iskcon also. And these are the 2 pages of Bhagavad Gita. See the aspects of Srila Prabhupada mood and missions to Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada given Bhagavad Gita as it is in original form. Basically, we can see original words and English transliteration and word to word Sanskrit English equivalents and translations and purports actually. It's a very simpler form, and anyone who can able to read can easily understand, can easily take the subject up. The features are made Bhagavad Gita very authentic and scholarly. Srila Prabhupada gave original manuscript of Bhagavad Gita with full parampara explanation. No adulteration done in Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada. To spread the unadulterated teachings of Lord Krishna all over the world. To present a mission of Supreme Personality of Lord Godhead Krishna, not one's personal mission. Gives actual position of Krishna, not like some scholars who remove, banish, kill Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita when writing their commentary. Accepting Bhagavad Gita in the same mood as Arjuna is proper attitude to understand. Considering all the mood and the mission, Iskcon, Srila Prabhupada has created a Vasudaika family called Iskcon in the year 1966. So we need to carry the mood of Prabhupada. So we can see the glimpse of, I just picked up from the website. We can see across the world, different community people are entering into our this Vasudaika Kutumam and enjoying their life and moving on. And we can see what are the benefits to Iskcon. Due to Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita as it is, Iskcon Krishna conscious movement became genuine, historical, authorized, natural, transcendental. The Krishna conscious movement became very famous due to Bhagavad Gita as it is. All generations, especially younger and old generations, joined Iskcon as live members. And Krishna conscious movement is established more soundly and progressively due to its based on Srila Prabhupada book as it is. Bhagavad Gita as it is guides the conditioned souls to the same purpose for which Krishna descended to this planet once in a day of Brahma. The way Prabhupada presented Bhagavad Gita as it is, similarly, Bhagavad Gita must be presented by anyone who is following Iskcon. The parampara and the purpose should not be diluted at any cost. So Iskcon is based on Bhagavad Gita as it is, and thus working for betterment for the society by making people Krishna consciousness. See, the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada are as follows. This is the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. Everyone should discover your super soul. That's a goal by Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. If anything is missed or anything incorrectly mentioned, please forgive me. And thanks for the group 1 devotees for giving me an opportunity to deliver in front of all the devotees, all Vaishnavas. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So we'd like to thank this group by chanting once. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare.
See, again, I wanted to clarify a little bit about mood and mission. So I'll just show certain things which were expected or which were supposed to be prime focus. So suddenly this point was mentioned that this book is very authentic and scholarly because the type of translations, purports, transliteration given by Prabhupada. And also parampara explanation is there. So which makes the movement very sound and progressive. And this is mood of Prabhupada. What is mood of Prabhupada is? If you see, he doesn't take any credit. He doesn't take credit for writing the book. So what he writes, actually the original father of this movement is Lord Krishna himself. If I personally have any credit in this matter, it is only that I have tried to present Bhagavad Gita as it is. So that is called mood. And then mission is, our business is to present the will of Krishna. Also there is one more business, one more mission, which comes in the 7 purposes of Iskcon. Somebody can tell what is the one of the 7 purposes of Iskcon which matches with the Bhagavad Gita. May not be as it is, you can paraphrase and speak.
To preach Krishna consciousness all over the world.
Yeah. And for that, regarding books also there is one thing.
To distribute Krishna consciousness literature all over the world.
Yeah. Printing and distributing the Krishna conscious literature all over the world. So this also comes in the category of mission.
Distributing prasadam, Prabhu.
No, see, I am talking in terms of what is given in the first 2 pages or what is there in Bhagavad Gita. There are 7 purposes, but we are not asking 7 purposes. We are asking what is correlating here. The point why I am mentioning here is because this question of mood and mission will come many times as we go ahead in our course. So mission has to be very clear from the mood. So mood we can see, he doesn't desire any credit. Mission is present the will of the Lord, print and distribute literatures related to Krishna. Another mood we find here is Prabhupada's strong criticism of Mayavad. Mayavadi bhat sun le hoy sarvinash. So what he writes, Lord Chaitanya has warned us about these unauthorized commentaries, rather unauthorized men. So you'll find this particular mood being repeated many times in Prabhupada's literatures. As soon as Prabhupada gets an opportunity to criticize Mayavad's philosophy, he doesn't leave it even once. So this is also a mood of Prabhupada. Okay. So that is how we have to identify the mood and mission. So good presentation, but these things can be the focus. Pick out the points from the purport or the section which is given and see what depicts the mood, what depicts the mission. So that is the way we should discuss and prepare for the presentation. Group number 2.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, please accept our humble business, Prabhu. We couldn't able to complete it, Prabhu. Please excuse us, give us one chance so that we will share.
Hare. But at least next time you have to do that.
Sure, Prabhu, for sure.
Also one more request. Devotees can open their videos. So that was like our so that we can be confirmed that devotees are attending the class, not their cameras. So now we'll start with Bhagavad Gita. So I'll just share, wait a minute. So chapter number 1, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kuruchitra. Somebody can read this. I think we had read this last time also. Still you can read here.
Bhagavad
So,
Gita. Sorry, Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, can I read, Prabhu? So,
Please go ahead.
Kurukshetra is a Dharma Kshetra. It is not fictitious thing. Just like rascals commentators, so called, they say Kurukshetra means this body. This it is not that. As it is, try to understand Bhagavad Gita as it is. Kurukshetra, Dharma Kshetra. It is a place of religion, and especially when Krishna was present there.
Yeah. So you may be remembering I told various reasons for Kuruchitra to be Dharma Kshetra. First, Krishna was personally present. Yati Maharaj performed lot of yagyas. Then Parasuram, he made pools of blood from the Kshatriyas whom he had killed. Pururva also did yagya there. He started the yagya process from Kuruchitra. During solar eclipse, all Vrajavasis met with Krishna in Kuruchitra. Vasudev performed yagyas in Kuruchitra. So Kuruchitra has been popular as Dharma Kshetra even before the Mahabharata war was fought. So it is historical, it's not allegorical, the way people say. So that is what is Prabhupada is pointing out. So Purana means history. It's not something which is a mythology, means myth. It's a history. So this is the summary. So verse number 1, Dhritarashtra inquires has inquiry to Sanjay regarding the battle of Kurukshetra. 2 to 11 talks about Duryodhana's fear and diplomacy in describing about his armies. 12 to 19 discusses about signs of victory. 20 to 27 Arjuna observes the armies, and 28 to 46 talks about Arjuna's reasons not to fight. So 4 reasons are given in this chapter, and 5th reason is given in the next chapter. So what he says, why he'll not fight, and then Krishna refutes them one by one in Bhagavad Gita, all the 5. Okay. So before doing group work, what we'll do now, we'll go directly to Bhagavad Gita. So you can repeat after me. Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
Samavetaayutsavaha
Samavetaayutsavaha
Mamaka Pandavasyeva
Mamaka Pandavaseva
Kim Akurvat Sanjaya.
Kim Akurvat Sanjaya.
Please read. Please read the translation.
Dhritarashtra said, shall I?
Please, yes.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? So, shall I read purport?
No, not required. So, this first chapter is also called as Visad Yoga, or quest for yoga through distress. And we can relate to it because in Kali Yuga many people, they take to Krishna consciousness because they had some distress in the past. So that number is the greatest number, and maybe Krishna knows that. That's why he made the drama in such a way that Arjuna was lamenting. Visad Yoga. Now what you can do, you can read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First 5, 6 lines of the purport. First 6 lines of the purport. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations.
Yeah. So this is what Prabhupada wanted from all of us. Prabhupada wanted that we should all read the Bhagavad Gita very, very scrutinizingly, and with the help of the devotees. So then Dhritarashtra, he inquires from Sanjay. Sanjay is, we have to mute, devotees can mute themselves. Yeah. So Sanjay is disciple of Vyasdev, and Vyasdev had empowered him to see whatever he wants on Kuruchitra. Now certainly this technology is much more advanced than our modern televisions also. In a television show, you can't see whatever you want. But Sanjay could see whatever he wants in the whole battle of Kurukshetra. Now Kurukshetra had lakhs of soldiers, but whatever he wanted he could see, and he could see whatever happened in the past also. Of course nowadays also they have recordings, but he could see that. So that was the empowerment given to Sanjay by the mercy of Vyasdev. So similarly the empowerment given by the spiritual master is extremely great. So then Dhritarashtra inquires from Sanjay, Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra Samaveta Yotsava. Then in Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra, what did the people there they did who were desirous to fight? So then Sanjay has a question. But you yourself are saying that they were desirous to fight. So why are you asking this question? So you are telling Youth Sabha means they were desirous to fight. Then where the question of not fighting? So what was the actual reason why Dhritarashtra was speaking like that? He says, because it was a Dharma Kshetra, it would be possible that both the parties would get intelligence not to kill each other because they are relatives. And they may negotiate. But Dhritarashtra didn't want negotiation. He wanted the entire kingdom for his own children. And he was pretty sure of his victory, thinking that Bhishma Dev is on my side. And Dronacharya is on my side. And in case there is a negotiation based on dharma, because it was a Dharma Kshetra, then Pandavas were the actual heir for the kingdom. They are supposed to get kingdom. Because Dhritarashtra was just an emergency emperor. He was kept as a case of emergency. He was supposed to be emperor till Pandavas grow enough to take care of the kingdom. So then he was thinking, then whole kingdom will go to Pandavas if there is a talk based on dharma. But if in case there is a war, Bhishma Dev will make Duryodhana win. So that's why he was very fearful that Dharma Kshetra should not influence the intelligence of his children. They should remain adharmic only. They should not become dharmic. So that was his worry. And we can see he makes a quite a distinction. Mamaka Pandavascheva, my own children and the children of Pandu. Now Pandu is also his brother only. So he could have talked about the relations, but he was not talking relation. So he was basically discriminating between his sons and the sons of Pandu. And that happens because of extreme selfishness which comes because of greed. So to the degree a person is on bodily consciousness, all bad qualities come in him. That is visible in Dhritarashtra. So that is how he asks this question. And then further, Sanjay starts answering. So Sanjay, understanding the mood of his master, immediately answers the concern of the master. So we can see in the verse. Sanjay Uvacha Drishtva tu Pandavanīkam Vyūdām Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravīt. Please read.
Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
So then Sanjay immediately started relating the preparations for the war. So that Dhritarashtra is extremely assured, peacefully assured, there was a war. There was no negotiation. So Sanjay could understand the mind of Dhritarashtra. And then what does Duryodhana tell to Dronacharya? Because Dronacharya was a commander-in-chief at that time, who was supposed to arrange the army and make the different formations of the army. So then Duryodhana tells to Dronacharya, Pasyatam Pandu Putranam Achara Mahatim Chamum Vyudam Drupada Putrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata. Please read.
O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciples, the son of Drupada.
So then what did he say? Tava Sisena Dhimata. And Prabhupada writes it in the later lines. Somebody can read from in the purport. Duryodhan pointed out the mistake. It is something right. 10th line from the bottom of the purport.
Duryodhana pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. By this, he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in the battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna especially was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Duryodhana also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat.
So we all know the pastime of Mahabharata, where Drupad and Dronacharya were childhood friends, and Drupad promised Dronacharya that whenever you have some difficulty, you can come to me. And Dronacharya went for the help because he had a lot of financial struggle. But when Drupad heard that Dronacharya has come, he said, I am not your friend. Friendship is between the equals. Dronacharya felt extremely hurt. And then later on, Bhishma Dev, he helped Dronacharya by making him the teacher, martial teacher of the Kuru dynasty. So Pandavas and Kauravas were trained under him. Then as a Guru Dakshina, he asked first Kauravas that you go and win over Drupad. But Duryodhan and whole party, they went. And along with Karna also, they had a support of Karna also. But they were thoroughly defeated by Drupad. They couldn't win over Drupad. And then Dronacharya asked the Pandavas. So Bhima and Arjuna, they won over Drupad. Bhima fought with the whole army single-handedly. And Arjuna fought with Drupad. So Arjuna dragged Drupad and brought him to Dronacharya. And then Dronacharya said, now you are defeated by me, now we can be friends. Of course, because of the defeat, he could accept him as a friend by heart. So then he said, now we will have half of kingdom. So Drupad had two types of emotions. One emotion was that he was extremely disgusted being defeated by Dronacharya. So he wanted to take revenge. And also he was extremely impressed by Arjuna. So he wanted to have Arjuna as his son-in-law. So he performed a fire sacrifice from which a boy and girl were born. So girl was Draupadi, who was married to Arjuna. And the boy was Drishtadyumna, who was born to be killed by Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew it. Despite that, when Drishtadyumna approaches Dronacharya for the Siksha, education of military art, Dronacharya doesn't refuse. And that is the character of a Brahmana. He knew that he will be killed, but still he taught him. And Duryodhan here is pointing at that mistake. So he's saying, Tava Sisyena Dhimata. This Drishtadyumna, who has arranged the whole army of Pandavas, he is your sister, he is your disciple. You became lenient towards Drishtadyumna by teaching him military art, and he is about to kill you now. don't repeat the same mistake by being lenient towards Pandavas, who are also your disciples, especially Arjuna, who is your dear disciple. So that's basically expert criticism. So Duryodhana was extreme expert diplomat. So he spoke as if he's glorifying, but he was criticizing Dronacharya. Also there are okay, that will come in the next one. Next verse. Atra Sura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayodhi Yuidhano Viratascha Drupatascha Maharatha. Please read.
Here in this army are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yuyudhana, Vritha and Drupada.
So Yudhan, Virat and Drupad. So Yudhan is also name of a Satyaki, because he was expert in fighting. So you are a disciple of Arjuna. Arjuna taught him how to fight. Resident of Dwarka, and he was fighting from the side of Pandavas. So Yudhan. So this Maharatha, Maharathi, and so these are the terminologies used in the Vedic scriptures. Any archer, if he can fight with single-handedly with 10,000 or more archers, is called Maharathi. So the terminology used. People who could fight between 1,000 to 10,000 archers are called Atirathi. So more than 10,000 Maharathi, 1,000 to 10,000 is called Atirathi. One who can fight with around 1,000 archers is called Rathi. And who can fight less than 1,000 archers is called Ardharathi. So these are different terminologies used in the Mahabharata and all the scriptures. So these are titles depending on the fighting spirit or fighting ability of different warriors. So all these personalities mentioned here are Maharathis, Maharatha. Extremely powerful. Okay, somebody had a question. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Anupam Mukunda.
Yes, Anupam.
Prabhuji, my question is, first thing is, Prabhupada here, first chapter, so why it is changed generally, Vishada Yoga? If you take in all the other sampradayas also, they mention Vishada Yoga. But Prabhupada, Prabhupada especially mentioned observing the armies on the battlefield of Kuruchitra. Is there any reason, Prabhupada?
Prabhupada wrote this Bhagavad Gita for a particular audience. So he knew this is a Western audience, and a Western audience, they want a certain background. So the background is that there is an observation of the armies, which becomes a foundation for Bhagavad Gita. And that is the reason Prabhupada wrote about observing the armies. That's why once Prabhupada, he told to his disciples that we will write another book. So Prabhupada's disciples asked, Prabhupada, which book do you want to write? So Prabhupada said, Bhagavad Gita. So disciples said, Prabhupada, already you have given Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada said, we can write thousands of Bhagavad Gitas. So there are different levels on which to which purports are given, as we were discussing in the last class also. So this whole thing is given for the Western audience, and basically they want title in terms of summary of the whole chapter. So they may not be able to see with such a spiritual perspective. So the beginning is tell them about the background. So Prabhupada wanted to tell them more about the background in terms of Mahabharata, because they are also not aware of the stories of Mahabharata. Like what I told you just now, most of you must already have heard about it. No, it is true for Indians, but for Western audience, they are not aware about all these characters. So that's why Prabhupada named it as observing the armies. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. And one more question, Prabhuji. So here it is mentioned that, so especially for Dronacharya, so Drupada, he did Yajna, and so Drushtadumna for killing Dronacharya. Did it is happened, Prabhu? So means he killed Dronacharya in the battlefield. I don't know.
He did kill. That was killed through cheating. Krishna is very tricky. So what had happened is Bhima, he killed one elephant whose name was Ashwatthama. So he killed that elephant, and later on the Ashwatthama was taken on fight on other side of the Kuruchitra. So Dronacharya was not able to see Ashwatthama, and then Bhima, and then Yudhishthira Maharaj, he made an announcement that because Bhima had killed the elephant, so he made an announcement, Ashwatthama is killed. But then he didn't want it to be duplicitous, so later on he spoke, but an elephant. That time Krishna blew the conch shell, so Dronacharya was not able to hear. So being extremely attached to his own son, he kept his bow and arrow set on the battlefield, and that time Dushyodhana came and killed him. So that is how Krishna arranged for the killing of Dronacharya. Otherwise it was not possible to kill him. Okay, so one more question came to me. Who decided who will participate in which side of Kurukshetra? That was individual's choice. Individual means king's choice. Certain kings were there who sided Kauravas, certain people sided Pandavas. Now text number 5. Drishtaketu Sichekitanaha Kasirajascha Veeravan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Sabyascha Narapungaha. Please read.
There are some great heroic, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kasi Raja, Purujit, Kunti Bhoja, and Saibya.
So each one of them are very powerful. Yuddha Manuscha Vikranta Uttamojascha Veeravan Subhadro Draupedeyascha Sarva Eva Maharatha.
There are mighty Yudamanyu, the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
So all them are categorized as Maharathas. So in this way he gives the description of the Pandavas army, and then he starts giving the description of his own army. Asmakam tu visishtaye tani bodha dvijotama nayaka mama sayanasya sangyartham tan bravimite.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
So now he starts telling about his own army, so that Dronacharya is well aware of his own army and the opposite army. Now I don't know whether they have worn some dress like that. Some dress code was there, I am not sure to identify, but at least he was speaking. Bhavan Bhismascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitim Jayah Aswathama Vikarnascha Swamidattis Tathevacha.
There are personalities like you, Bhisma, Karna, Kripa, Aswathama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta called Bhurisrava, who are always victorious in battle.
So Vikarna, so one of the acharyas say that Vikarna was not very powerful, but Vikarna spoke from the side of Pandavas when Draupadi was going to get disrobed. He stopped. He told, "No, this is unrighteous, you should not do it." So that's why although Vikarna was not very strong, but Duryodhan, with great diplomacy, he glorified Vikarna as Maharathi, so that Vikarna becomes enthused to fight from his own side. So these are all the tactics of diplomacy which Duryodhana was using. अन्ये च बहवः सूरा मदर्थे त्यक्त जीवितः नाना शस्त्र प्रहारणा सर्वे युद्ध विशारदा.
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
So Tyakta Jivita, Prabhupada comments on that. Literal meaning of Tyakta Jivita means they have given up their lives. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Your voice is breaking, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. Now we won't go any problem. Tyakta Jivita. Am I audible now? Hare Krishna.
No, Prabhu.
There was some network problem. Am I audible to you, all of you now? Hare Krishna. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, Prabhu, but still voice is not very clear.
Voice is not clear. Some background voice is coming.
Okay. So what can we do? I don't know whether what is the reason. Maybe because of clouds, the signal is low today. Seems like that. Am I audible now?
Prabhu, still voice is breaking, Prabhu.
Voice is breaking.
Prabhu, videos off చేసుకుంటే పర్వాలేదా? ఎలా Prabhu?
Prabhu, I think you can try once switch off your video. Let's see, Prabhu. Prabhu, you are in mute, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So hopefully now it should work because I have connected to another network.
Absolutely fine, Prabhu. No issues.
It's fine.
Yes, Prabhu.
So in case some problem happens, we have 3 networks here. So if one stops working, we'll connect to another one. Okay. So Tyakta Jivita. I was speaking of Tyakta Jivita. So Tyakta Jivita has little meaning that they have given up their lives. So what it means is that Acharyas say that Mother Saraswati was sitting on the tongue of Duryodhan and somehow he spoke the truth unintentionally, that they have already given up their lives. So they have not given up their lives yet. but he spoke that they have already given up their lives. So he used the word Tyakta Jivita. And then he speaks, Aparayaptam tadasmakam balam bhisma bhirakshitam parayaptam tvi idam etesam balam bhima bhirakshitam.
Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhisma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
So, what he says is basically, Bhishma Dev has never lost the war. So we are sure to win. So Bhishma Dev was more than 450 years old while he was fighting the war. And he never lost the war for 450 years. So he was pretty confident that Bhishma Dev is going to bring victory for them. And as far as Bhima is concerned, so he said that Bhima is a less experienced general as compared to Bhishma Dev. And Prabhupada writes that he was very envious of Bhima and he tried to kill Bhima by giving him a poison. And other times he couldn't kill, but he tried to kill Bhima. So that's why he was saying that Bhima can't protect. So he was very confident of his victory. But when he glorifies Bhishma Dev, he has a fear that other people, other warriors should not become discouraged. So then we'll see that how expertly he glorifies both Bhishma Dev and encourages other warriors also in the next verse. Ayanesu cha sarvesu yatha bhagam avasthita bhishmam evabi rakshantu bhavanta sarva evehi.
All of you must now give full support to grandfather Bhisma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army.
Okay. So now he feels that, other people may say only Bhishma Dev is important. We are not important. So then what he says? Of course, Bhishma Dev is very important. But now he's an old man. He also needs some support. So all of you stay at your strategic positions and give support to Bhishma Dev. But he doesn't tell that very exclusively. He speaks in such a way that other warriors feel like that he's an old man, we should give him support. And Bhishma Dev feels that, all other people should follow me. How did we come to conclusion that Bhishma Dev was 450? It is given in the Mahabharata. I didn't read it directly, but I heard from many speakers. So some people say 456, some say little more. But one thing is common, everybody speaks more than 450. So that's why I played safe, not by exactly quoting it. Yes, Sarojini Mataji?
Prabhu, you said that Bhishma Dev was never conquered, but in the Rajñātavasa, after there is a war happening in their Virat, and Arjuna was fighting, and Bhishma Dev was also present there. He's not. They were
Actually,
all
Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya, they refrained from fighting, although they were personally present there. And the reason is they said that according to the astrology, their 14 years are over. But Duryodhana was bent upon killing them. Duryodhana said, no, they are not over. So he was making a serious astrological mistake willingly, Duryodhana, to fight with them. So that's why Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya, they refrained from fighting, other warriors fought, including Karna. So Karna and other people, they were defeated by Arjuna single-handedly. Okay. So now Bhishma Dev, what he understood from the whole episode, this verse number 11 was that Duryodhana meant that we will survive only on strength of Bhishma Dev, so protect him. And other warriors were feeling, okay, Bhishma Dev is very important, but despite them, he needs protection, so we should protect him. So they felt valued also. So Bhishma Dev, when he heard such encouraging words from Duryodhana, Bhishma Dev wanted to reciprocate with the encouragement. And let us see what he does in verse number 12. Tasya sanjanayan harsam kuru vriddha pitamaha simanadam vinadyoche sankam dadmo patapavan.
The Bhishma, the great, then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy.
Yeah. So Bhishma Dev was joyful on hearing the respect given to him. So he blew the conch with great joy and drive away all fears of Duryodhana. So Duryodhana was certainly already confident that Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya will fight from my side. And Prabhupada writes the reason in the purport of 11th verse, that when Draupadi was forced to strip naked, so that time Dronacharya and Bhishma Dev didn't speak anything, although they are righteous. So Duryodhana was confident that they are loyal to me and they will not fight from other side, or they will not refrain from fighting. So he was pretty confident, but still, to increase his confidence further that he will win, Bhishma Dev blew the conch. And then what happened? Tatha sankascha bheryascha pandavanaka gomukha sahaseva vyayanta sa sabdas tumalo abhavat.
After that, the conches, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
So actually all these musicians were there on both the sides, and they all played on their musical instruments to encourage the warriors on both the sides to fight. So sometimes Mahabharata becomes very interesting because there is background music in different TV serials. Because music has a special effect. Like you'll find during Olympic Games also, people stand on their position 3, 2, 1 steps, and the flags are hosted of the particular countries. But as soon as the musical anthem, the national anthem of their country starts, then they start suddenly crying. So music has an effect on the mind. So there were musicians even on the battlefield of Kuruchitra to encourage the warriors to fight. That's why wars in the ancient days or the Vedic days were fought with righteousness and sportive spirit. So warriors would be happy. Nowadays, if we compare with that, nowadays there is no sportive spirit. Because many a times they have to shoot bullets, and many times things are not very clear to them where are they shooting. Like I met with a lot of military men. So one question I heard from people asking these military men many times: how many terrorists did you kill till now, or how many enemies did you kill till now? And a very not strange but a practical answer. They say, is my name imprinted in each and every bullet which hits the warriors? Is my name imprinted in the bullets which hits the enemies? You keep on shooting, and whose bullet is going to hit, we don't know. So that sportive spirit is not there, which was there earlier, where warriors would call each other, abuse each other, have a fighting spirit, and they would fight. Also, it is not very righteous now, because earlier days all the wars were arranged outside the people, outside the public place. So we don't find any ordinary citizens being killed in the Kuruchitra war. It was war between the kings. But nowadays what has happened is, first bombs they put in the public places only. So that's totally unrighteous. So that's why nowadays the wars are not dharma yuddha. Now one strange question may come in our mind is that how did these people become so encouraged to become musicians on the battlefield? Arrows are moving here and there, and you are having a kartal and mridangam in hand. You can't even defend yourself. You can't have a seal also in your hand because you have a musical instrument with you. So all these warriors, they generally have mixed sanskaras. So when father has the mentality of a Kshatriya and mother has the mentality of a Sudra or generally musical caste. So then the children who are born, they have a mixed mentality. Kshatriya spirit with an interest for music. So that's why they go in the wars and they play music there. Ordinary musicians can't go there. So they were playing on the musical instruments, which showed that both the parties were very eager to fight. See, this whole background has a purpose. Because Bhagavad Gita was spoken when all the warriors were very eager to fight. So we can understand the importance of Bhagavad Gita from that. And then we find and the next verse, which talks more about the science of victory. So you can read the translation purport. Tata sveter Hare yukte mahati sandane sthito madhava pandavascheva divyo sankho pradadmatu. Padi, please read.
On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses sounded their transcendental counsels. Purport: in contrast with the counsel blown by Bhismadeva, the counsels in the hands of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental counsels indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the counsel of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjuna, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides, wherever it was drawn over the three worlds.
So these are different signs of victory which are given in this verse and pointed by Prabhupada. So first one is Divya Sankhav. Divya Sankhav means transcendental counsels. That means these were not the counsel of this world. They are transcendental counsels. So Pandavas' counsel are spoken as transcendental, whereas the counsel blown by Bhismadeva is not called transcendental. Or the musicians, their musical instruments are not called transcendental. That means personalities who are going to fight from the side of Yudhishthira Maharaj are transcendental. Their victory is assured. So this was the first one. Second, Krishna is glorified as Madhava. Madhava means the husband of goddess of fortune. That means fortune is going to favor the Pandavas. Because in war, fortune is extremely important. Like there was in Indian history, there is a war between Humayun and Akbar. Akbar was sure to be defeated. Humayun was a Hindu king, and he never lost any war in his whole life. He was the emperor of India at that time, ruling over Delhi. But then what happened is, one of the warriors' arrow went in the Humayun's eye, and he fell from the elephant. And that is the time when his whole army became discouraged and they lost the war. So it is a fortune. So a little bit of fortune on somebody's side would give victory. But Madhava, Krishna, the husband of God of fortune, is on the side of Pandavas. They are sure to have victory. So this is the second one, Madhava. There is also the chariot drawn by the white horses. And this chariot was donated to Arjuna by Agni. So Tatha Swete Hare Yukte. So this chariot drawn by white horses was donated to Arjuna by Agni when Arjuna burned Khandoprast forest. So Agni had some indigestion, which is pretty strange. Generally, we get indigestion when our Agni is weak in the belly. So you go to any Vedya, he will say, no, your Agni is not enough, Agni mand hai. They say like that. Your Agni is not strong. But then Agni himself had indigestion. So that is the nature of the material world. Even demigods have problems. So then he wanted to consume the medicinal plants, herbs, which were present in Khandoprast forest. But whenever he would do, whenever Agni would try to digest the herbs there, Indra would do rains because Takshak was staying there. So then Agnidev, he sought the favor of Krishna and Arjuna. So Arjuna, he fought with the demigods while Agni could digest all the ausadhis there. So Agni became very happy, and Agni gave this particular chariot to Arjuna. And this chariot had a quality. So Prabhupada writes that it was capable of conquering all the directions. It's called Vijay Rath. It's not ordinary Rath. So that is another sign of victory. Okay, so I have some questions here. Narasimha Prabhu. There are victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by counsel of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Any specific reason why Vishnu name is mentioned here? Vishnu name is mentioned here. Which verse you are talking about, Narasimha Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Haan.
Yeah, Prabhu, in the purport of text 14, Prabhu, it's just we discussed, right? So, therefore, the victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the counsel of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So, we know it was Lord Krishna only, right, Prabhu? So, why specifically that name Vishnu was mentioned?
Okay, why this particular name is mentioned is because this particular counsel is also spoken about the counsel of Vishnu. So whether it is Krishna or Vishnu, they carry the same counsel. Like Krishna expands as Vishnu. Similarly, this counsel also is a person. He also expands as counsel in the hands of Vishnu. Okay.
Okay. Hare.
And also it is indicated because generally many a times people think Krishna to be ordinary person. So Prabhupada wanted to point out that no, he is not an ordinary person, he is Vishnu. Understanding Vishnu as God is very easy. Sank, Chakra, Gada, Padma, 4 hands. We have 2 hands. But understanding Krishna as God is very difficult. So Prabhupada is pointing out he is Vishnu. He is not Krishna, ordinary person. Okay, Pradeep Pru had a question. Gate Mataji. What are the three worlds? Three worlds are Bhu, Bhuva, Swa. Bhulok, Bhuvarlok, and Swarglok. They are generally called the three worlds. Okay?
So sometimes they will call like upper planetary system, middle planetary system, and lower planetary system. At that time,
yeah, we can say like that also. But literally in the scripture, generally it is said Bhu, Bhuvar, Swa.
oh,
That's why you find in Gayatri Mantra also they use this word. Bhulok, Bhuvarlok, Swarglok. And the reason is because
only those three lokas are mentioned. What about other lokas?
see why others are not mentioned, because generally you will hear even demons conquering Swargaloka. Especially the planet of Brahmaloka, it can't be conquered by any demon. So when we said that even Hiranyakashipu conquered the whole world, he would conquer Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka, no demon can even approach, what to say of conquering. So that's why in specific, when we go, Bhu, Bhuva and Swa are mentioned. But because you can approach only till Swargaloka and win over Swargaloka, other places are not mentioned at all. Okay. What happened to Takshak and Mayadana who took shelter of Khandaprasth when Agni was eating? We do not go to Mahabharata stories. I'll tell in concise. As far as Takshak is concerned, Takshak's whole family was killed. The family of snakes. Only Takshak was saved. And that is why Takshak wanted to take revenge from Pandavas. And he killed, he became cause of death of Parikshit Maharaj. So that is about Takshak. Mayadana was running away. Whatever demons were running away from Khandaprasth, Krishna and Arjuna basically was killing them. Mayadana ran away even from Arjuna. He was super expert. Krishna sent his Sudarshan to kill Mayadana, but Mayadana was very clever. He took the shelter of Arjuna. And Krishna said, oh, he is taking shelter of my devotee, how can I kill him? So that time Mayadana, he gave any boon to Arjuna. So this is not something which I read, but I heard from devotee that he was ready to give this mechanical engineering, Yantriki Vidya. Krishna said, don't accept it. It is meant for Kaluga Vasis. It's atheistic in nature. So that third class fellows in Kaluga, they will take this technical knowledge. So then Mayadana made a palace for Arjuna at Indraprastha, where water was looking like land and land was looking like water. So this is the past. But we don't want to discuss whole Mahabharata. Hare Krishna, if Krishna is on the side of Arjuna, then how other material science help or important? Certainly Krishna is there, that is enough. But then details make the thing more interesting. And that is why we are discussing all the details. Okay. Now 15th. Okay. Anupam Mukundu Prabhu has a question.
Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, as you previously said, Bhu, Bhuvar, Swa, these three lokas. So then if you say in the history, so many times these Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, all these demons, they conquered three worlds. Generally they will say. Means they conquered only three worlds, and also if you take, there are some devotee side also, Prahlad Maharaj and other Balav Chakravarti, they also ruled the entire three worlds. They will say. Means Here, both cases, Bhu, Bhur, Bhuva, Swa. Only these three worlds, Prabhu, are entire 14 worlds.
No, it's not 14. At least it's not Brahmaloka, because Brahmaloka is never conquered. They are the boon to Brahmaji. And that's why Hiranyakashipu was contemplating that anyway, I can't conquer Brahma. But I'll keep on doing tapasya till I become as powerful as Brahma. So that was his plan. He was saying, I am eternal, time is eternal, I'll continue my tapasya next body also. Till I become as powerful as Brahma. So, it's not all the planetary systems. Prahlad Maharaj never said to conquer all the three worlds. Bali Maharaj said. Prahlad Maharaj took just his kingdom in the lower planetary system, meant for Rakshasas. Okay?
No, Prabhuji. My question is, Narsingadev, he given boon to Prahlad Maharaj, no? So you can become the king and you can rule entire all three worlds like that. So in that case, I'm asking.
See, Narsingadev can do anything. Narsingadev can create another universe and tell that now you rule here. So for Lord is nothing is important. Nothing is impossible. Or he can make him Brahma of the next universe only. So Narsingadev, if he says anything, he can fulfill. Like Dhruv Maharaj, he had an impossible dream. He wanted a kingdom greater than that of Brahma. Not possible. But then Lord, what he did? He gave him Dhruv Loka. Dhruv Loka is actually not ruled even by Brahma. Dhruv Loka is a part of Swetadeep, where Lord Vishnu is the ruler. Lord gave his own planet to Dhruv Loka, Dhruv Maharaj to rule, which is much more opulent because it is spiritual than Brahma. So Lord can do anything. That is a different thing. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Just to get clarity on three worlds, what are the actual three worlds? Thank you.
Yeah. See, now they may rule over lower planetary system, but they are not considered so important. But at least higher ones, especially Brahma Loka, is impossible.
We Bhuloka will be there, generally human beings. In Bhuvarloka
is ruled by the Rakshasas and the Yakshas. Yakshas and Rakshasas stay at Bhuvarloka. It's higher.
So above Bhuvarloka Swarga.
Above Bhuvarloka is Swargaloka.
Yes.
पांचजन्याम ऋषिकेशो देवदत्तम धनंजया पौंड्राम दद्मौ महाशंखम भीम कर्मा विरकोदरः.
Lord Krishna blew his counsel called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific counsel called Poundra.
So these are the specific counsels of different people. Krishna is indicated as Rishikesa. Prabhupada writes in the purport that Rishikesa means Risik Isa, controller or owner of the senses. But then he allows us, although he is owner of all the senses of all the people, despite that, he allows us to use our senses for sense gratification. He allows. But he uses the senses of his pure devotees only for fulfilling his task. Why? Because pure devotees want it. They say, my Lord, these senses don't belong to me, they belong to you. So please use them in your service. And that's why Krishna is going to use the senses of Arjuna for fighting. Arjuna's victory is assured, or victory of Pandavas is assured. Because who is going to use it? Krishna is going to use it. Duryodhana thought there is no danger because Krishna is not participating in the war. But he didn't knew Krishna is going to use the senses of Arjuna. who is a pure devotee. This is also a lesson for us, which we can learn from here is, we should also have that sense of belongingness. Why should we follow 4-day principles? Because not to just get rid of sin, not to just get rid of the punishment given by Yamraj. Because these senses don't belong to us, they are senses of Krishna and Guru. This body doesn't belong to us, this body belongs to Guru and Krishna. So we are supposed to use this body and senses for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. That's why how can we use it for something which is against the law of Krishna? So Krishna said that no more sin. Sin means things, actions which are against the laws of Krishna. So that's why we have to slowly develop that sense that this body and senses is not my property, it is the property of Guru and Krishna. So I am going to use them only for Krishna service, not for my own sense gratification, not for my own sense pleasure. And when such a spirit is there, Krishna will use our senses for doing his works. That's why we see that Prabhupada could do miracles, because Krishna did miracles through the body of Prabhupada. So that is called surrender. Surrender means this body doesn't belong to me, this body belongs to Guru and Krishna. So let me use them for Krishna service. Okay, so these were the conch cells, and now further conch cells are born, 16 to 18. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevasya Sughos Mani Puspako Kasyasya Parameswasaha Sikhandi Cha Maharatha Dashtidumno Viratasya Satakesya Parajitaha Drupade Draupadeyasya Sarvasa Prithivipate Subhadrasya Mahabahu Sankhan Dadmo Prathak Prathak. Please read.
King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell to Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadeva blew the Sughosa and Manipuspaka. The great archer, the king of Kasi, the great fighter Sikandi, Yashadimna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and the others, O king, such as the mighty armored son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells.
Yeah. So in this way, all these personalities, they blew their conch shell. So we find here that there was no ego class. We don't find Yudhishthira saying, oh, Krishna blew conch shell, we understand he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why did Arjuna blew the conch shell? I am a king, I am supposed to blow the conch shell. Or Dashathum could have said, I am at least no army in charge, I am supposed to blow the conch shell. Why did Arjuna blew? So there was no ego class. And not only Arjuna, Bhima also blew. So Yudhishthira didn't went in depression, what is this? These fellows are not following me. No, they are powerful warriors, they are blowing on their own. At least they should have sought permission from me. So there was quite a good understanding between all these brothers. Whereas we don't find such a thing in the Kaurava army. Later on we find that Karna had quite a dispute with Salya. Salya didn't want to become a chariot driver, but Karna forced him. So there was quite a fight between both of them. So this is something which you can learn from here. And also, blowing of the conch shell is done at the war field and when we open the altar. So when we open the altar, blowing of the conch shell means the declaration of war against Maya. Be ready for the whole day. So that is how we should get ready for taking shelter of Krishna for the whole day. So that's the blowing of conch shell. Okay, Manjunath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Earlier you mentioned the conch shell which Krishna using. That's a person and expanded to Lord Vishnu's conch shell. So here, every warrior is using conch shell. They are also persons, Prabhuji.
Supposed to be, because the reason is it is mentioned of the Pandavas, and Pandavas are eternal associate of the Lord. So supposed to be, although it is not very exclusively mentioned anywhere, but supposed to be transcendental, supposed to be person.
As every conch shell have a name, individual name for it. So I just asked.
See, name is not like a demarcation for that, because name you can even give to your cricket bat also. Sachin's bat is called this, Virat Kohli's bat is called this, but that main name is material. But the reason which we can find is these Pandavas, they participate in the Leela of the Lord, which Lord performs in different universes. They are eternal associates of the Lord. So certainly their conch shells are supposed to be transcendental. That is what we can make out. But no acharyas have given very exclusive commentary on these things. So that's why better, we cannot say it conclusively, but we can derive a logic out of it. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Saghosho dhashtra rashtraणाम हृदयानि व्यदारयत नभश्चा पृथिवीं चैवा तुमुलो अभिनुनादयन्.
The blowing of these different conch shells become uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra.
Now this is also a sign of victory. Because when it came to the blowing of conch shell of Bhishma Dev, nowhere it is written that it shattered the heart of Pandavas. But blowing of these conch shells, they shattered the heart of the sons of Dhritarashtra. That means these conch shells are more powerful. So this is also a sign of victory, another sign of victory. Another sign of victory is given in verse number 20. At vyavasitan drishtva धात्राष्ट्रान् कपि ध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्र संपाते धनुर उद्यम पांडवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम इदम आह महीपते. Please read.
At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot, bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
You can read the purport also.
Purport: the battle was just about to begin. It is understood from the above statement that the sons of Dhritarashtra were more or less disheartened by the unexpected arrangement of military force by the Pandavas, who were guided by the direct instructions of Lord Krishna on the battlefield. The emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna is another sign of victory because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Rama in the battle between Rama and Ravana, and Lord Rama emerged victorious. Now both Rama and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Lord Krishna is Rama himself, and wherever Lord Rama is, his eternal servitor Hanuman and his eternal consort Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore, Arjuna had no cause to fear any enemies whatsoever. And above all, the Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna, was personally present to give him direction. Thus, all good counsel was available to Arjuna in the matter of executing the battle. In such auspicious conditions arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee, lay the signs of assured victory.
Yeah. So earlier, Hanuman won battle for Lord Ram, and now Arjuna has that opportunity to have a victory for Krishna. So Krishna comes for specific purposes. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasajaya duskritam. Delivering the pious and annihilating the miscreants. Now Arjuna has a good fortune to help Krishna in his mission of annihilating the demons. So that opportunity is there for Arjuna. But victory assured for him. Why? Earlier in fight with Ravana and whole army, Ram, Hanuman and Shiva. Here Krishna is present as Ram. Hanuman is still there in the Kapi Dhwaja, in the flag. And Sita is always there, goddess of fortune, in the chest of Krishna, as the Srivatsa marker in the chest of Krishna. So they all are there. So victory of Arjuna is assured. How did this Hanumanji came in the flag? There is a history given in Mahabharata. So when Pandavas were in exile, they went towards Mansarovar, Kailas Mansarovar. On the way, in Alaknanda or Mandakini Ganga, one of them, Draupadi saw one Sahastra Kamal, 1000 petal lotus, which is found only in Mansarovar. So Draupadi knew whom to speak for what. So she told Bhima that I want that lotus. Immediately Bhima went and took it. Maybe she would have told Yudhishthira Maharaj would have said, okay, be pacified, you should be satisfied with whatever you have. So she didn't wanted a good counsel at this time. She wanted that lotus. So she told to Bhima. And immediately Bhima went and brought that lotus. Then Draupadi said, I want one more. So Bhima started moving towards Kailas Mansarovar. On the way he saw a monkey, old monkey, who was extremely tired, fatigued. And he was there on the way with his long tail. And as far as Vedic culture is concerned, one is not supposed to step over any living entity. That's a Vedic culture or Vedic etiquette. Why? Because everybody has Lord Vishnu is residing in their heart, Paramatma in their heart. So each bodies are like temples. One should not step over. So Bhima told to this monkey, oh monkey, remove your tail. I, Bhima, I want to cross over. And then monkey said, I am an old man. Not old man, old monkey. I am old monkey. I am too weak to move my tail. So Bhima said, no, but I am Bhima, I am ordering you to remove the tail. Monkey said, fine, I respect that you are very powerful, but if you are so powerful, why don't you yourself remove the tail? Because I am an old monkey, why are you troubling me by telling me to remove the tail? It is such a hard work, I can't do that hard work, I am very tired. So Bhima tried to remove the tail, but he couldn't even move the tail. Immediately he could understand this is a Hanuman. So he told him, my dear brother Hanuman, you are here. Hanumanji said, yes, I am there. So then both of them embraced each other. So one of the pastimes which comes is that both of them said that will come in Kali Yuga for defeating the Mayavadis. So both of them came together as Madhvacharya. So this is one pastime. Then Hanumanji was asking about the whereabouts of Pandavas. So then Bhima told the whole history, that how these Kauravas are trying to kill them, they have exiled them. Hanumanji said, Are why your people are taking so much of trouble? I have killed big Rakshasas in Satyuga. And these are small, tiny Rakshasas at the end of Dwapar Yuga. If you tell me immediately, I'll take a jump, go to Hastinapur, catch all these 100 fellows, 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. If you want, I can take Dhritarashtra also. I'll bring them and with one blow, I'll kill all 100 of them. So Bhima said that no. Actually, I have taken a vow to kill all these 100 sons. What about my vow? So then Hanuman said, so is there any service for me? So then Bhima said, yes, you can do one thing. You stay on the chariot of Arjuna and you make a loud roar in the battlefield, which creates the fear in the hearts of Kaurava army. So Hanumanji was doing that service without giving any suggestions to Arjuna. So he didn't give a single suggestion to Arjuna saying, oh Arjuna, anyway I won the battle for Lord Ram. So you should do this, you should do that. He never gave a suggestion. Whatever service was given, he was doing only that service. And one of the lectures, Prabhupada writes another point. He says, why Arjuna was carrying Hanumanji on the flag? To get the blessings of Hanumanji, who is a Acharya. My dear Hanumanji, Bajrangji, you had played the role of serving Lord Ram in Ramayana and you won a battle for Lord Ram. Now I have this service of winning the battle for Krishna. Please give me your blessings, without which I cannot win the battle for Krishna. So Prabhupada said this should be the mood of all the Vaishnavas. That whenever we are doing some preaching or any service, we will seek the blessing of Acharya saying that I have no strength. I have no strength to do these things. But if you bless me, I can do these things. So that's a humble mood of Vaishnavas. We will seek the blessings of Acharyas. That's why before doing anything, any service, we pray. Like we play all these prayers before classes, invoking the mercy of Acharyas so that we can speak or we can discuss Krishna Katha. Similarly, before preaching, before honoring prasadam also, we chant this Maha Prasada Govinda. So we seek the blessings of the previous Acharyas. Similarly, we find Prabhupada before he went to the West, he went to Rupa Goswami Samadhi, cried there. He went to the Samadhi of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, seeking the blessing of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so that he can go and preach in the Western world. Like when Prabhupada came to Radha Damodar temple, that time one of the Babajis, so he said that when Prabhupada was there in Radha Damodar temple before going to the West, he would hear someone crying every night. So then once he saw from his rooftop, he saw Prabhupada is brooming the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami and begging for mercy. So that time he said, I understood, this person will certainly do some miracles. Because one who is so desperate for the mercy of Acharyas will certainly get the blessing of the Acharyas. So we find the same mood here of Duryodhana also. And also it is a sign of victory that Hanumanji is present there. Okay. Manjunath Prabhu has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what is the significance of blowing the conch shell in every beginning of the war, Prabhuji?
In every, okay.
Anyway, whenever war happens, in general sense I'm asking.
Okay. See, one of the things is that it's an indication that war should begin. Because sometime you have to indicate, war is supposed to begin, so that the other warrior is ready. See, it's not like that war nowadays. When other warrior is not ready, at that time only you attack. So sportive spirit is that you are ready, other fellow is ready, then you have a war. So there's an indication. Second thing is, conch shell is also supposed to be the sign of auspiciousness. So Prabhupada said that the bone is impure, but conch shell is also bone of an animal, it is considered pure. Because it is given in Vedas. So it is indicative of a religious war. Religious wars are considered as good as performing yagyas. So Prabhupada will write in one of the purports, we will read further in one of the purports, that when a Brahmana kills an animal in a sacrifice or Kshatriyas kill someone in the war, both are considered religious. Because all the people involved in the fire sacrifice, if it is genuine, nowadays Kali Yuga it is prohibited, but in the previous ages, both the animal who are killed, the Yajman, the Brahmanas and the people around get the benefit of such a sacrifice. Similarly, anyone who is killed in the religious war goes to Swargaloka. Because Kshatriyas would fight for religious purposes in the previous ages. What would be the reasons? One reason would be that you are not religious, I am religious, I will rule the kingdom. That was one of the reasons. So this is one of the reasons. Second reason was they would fight a war so that they can get the wealth. Because all the warriors, they would have their mukut, crowns, chariots made of gold. So after you win a war, you have the opportunity to collect that gold. And using that gold, you can perform fire sacrifices. So whenever the kings had to do some fire sacrifice, they had the opportunity to declare a war and collect the wealth in that way. So the wars were done with some religious motives. They were not done unnecessarily. So that's why blowing of the conch shell depicts the religious war. Okay.
Prabhuji, we understood in the few minutes back, whenever we open the deity worship and whenever we open the altar, we are blowing the conch shell. So you mentioned that to declare the war against Maya, you mentioned. So that is the only reason, right, Prabhuji, here for understanding as a devotees.
For devotee it is there, because people fighting in the war may not be devotees, but for them at least it is a sign of auspiciousness. Because each Kshatriya would think that I am religious. So let me invoke in auspiciousness. See, in general, if you see among devotees also, devotees whenever they have a debate, it must be happening in your center also, right? Each devotee is thoroughly convinced that I am on the right track, other fellow is not on the right track. So both are on the right track, because there can be more than one right. But then all of them are convinced I am right. So that happens for Kshatriyas also. Both are good kings, both may be even devotees of the Lord, but they think I am right, other fellow is wrong. So there have been war between Prataprudra or Purushottam Devi. I think Prataprudra and Krishna Dev Raya. Both are great devotees of the Lord. Krishna Dev Raya and Prataprudra. They had a war. Similarly, king of Jaipur and king of Chittor. Both were great devotees of Krishna. They had a war. So this happens with devotees also. It's like a part of human psychology. Okay. Yeah. Why Bhima is called Hanuman's brother? Because both are Vayu Putra. Hanuman is son of Vayu and Bhima is also son of Vayu. So Bhima had Kunti as mother, Vayu as father. Hanumanji was born from the semen of Lord Shiva, carried by Vayu and implanted in the womb of Anjana. And Anjana happened to be the wife of Kesari. So that's why Hanuman is said to have three fathers, both Shiva or Rudra, Vayu and Kesari. So all three are considered father. Okay. So that's the reason. Now things come to Arjuna now. Arjuna vacha सेनयोरुभयोर मध्ये रथम स्थाप्य में अच्युता यावत् एतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुं कामान् अवस्थितान् केरमया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे. You are muted now, bro.
Arjuna said, "O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms."
Please read the purport also.
Purport: although Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy, he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed herein as infallible, as charioteer. He had to carry out the orders of Arjuna, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible. Although he had accepted the position of a charioteer for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. In all circumstances, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, Iskcon, the Lord of the total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. Since he is a master, everyone is under his orders, and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master in all circumstances. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading persons present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of a peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war.
So then Krishna is called here as Achyuta, infallible. So why is he called infallible? The reason is that he never fails to show the affection to his devotees. So in that way he is infallible. So this is one of the reasons. So it was because of affection towards Arjuna that Krishna was driving the chariot. Otherwise, the role of chariot driver is not considered very glorious. Like for example, if you are trying to educate your son very nicely, and the son says, "My goal of life is to become a car driver, taxi driver," how will you feel? You say, if you want to become taxi driver, why should I spend so much money in teaching you? It is not considered a very glorious job. Much lower is the job of a chariot driver, because he doesn't have to just take care of the or drive. He also has to take care of the horses, and horses really give very obnoxious smell. If you are not convinced about it, then come to our temple in Calcutta from Havada. As soon as you cross the Howrah Bridge, strong stench comes because it's a horse racing ground. So even half kilometer before approaching the horse racing ground, strong stench of the stool of the horse comes. Very obnoxious. But you have to take care of the horse. So that is considered very abominable. More abominable is the chariot driver who drive the chariot in the battlefield. Why? Because in the battlefield, because of the loud uproarious sounds of the neighing of the horses, rattling of the chariots, striking of the weapons, chariot driver often can't hear the sound of the warrior behind. So warrior behind many times indicates which way to go by kicking him. By kicking on the right side, he indicates you have to go on the right side. By kicking on the left side, he indicates you have to go on the left side. So it is considered a very, very humbling job. And Krishna was doing that job. So that is extent of his devotion to his devotee. So Lord, who is the Rishikesh, who is controller of all the senses, is now controlling the horses of Arjuna. He has taken that humble role. Also, another reason why Achyuta word is used is just because he is driving the chariot doesn't mean that his position is fallen. Oh, Krishna has fallen down, he is driving the chariot of Arjuna. No, not like that. Why? Because he is doing it out of affection. That doesn't diminish the position of Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada gives in one of the lectures gives the example that if somebody is queen of a kingdom, she is called Rajarani. But if this Rajarani, she cleans the stool of her son, she doesn't become Maitrani. Maitrani means sweeper. Sweepers are the one who take the garbage. But just because she is cleaning the stool of her son doesn't become Maitrani, she remains Radharani. Why? Because she is not bound to clean the stool. She is cleaning the stool out of affection for the son. So when there is love and there is service out of love, that doesn't diminish the position of a person. So that's the whole point. So that's why Krishna is called Achyuta. Whatever role he may play, he is still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if he comes as the boar, Varadev, he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he always remains Supreme Personality of Godhead. Achyuta. So when Arjuna says, take my chariot between both the armies, okay, first we'll take the question. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, when infallible doesn't mean that he's unconquerable.
It means also unconquerable. But in this particular context, the word infallible is used for these two reasons. First, to indicate that he doesn't fail to reciprocate with his devotees. Second is his position doesn't diminish. So that's the reason. Although literally it may mean that he is unconquerable. Actually, unconquerable literally has the meaning of Ajita. That word is used, Ajita. For Achyuta here...
never fall down. Achyuta means never fall down.
Achyuta means never falls. So Ajita means never conquered. Now, Krishna may say, ask Arjuna that, oh, why do you want me to take the chariot between both the armies? Is it that you want to make friendship with the Kauravas? That's why you are telling me to take the chariot between both the armies? Then Arjuna says, no. I don't want to make friendship. I am not going for negotiating. What is the purpose for which I am telling you to take the chariot between both the armies? Krishna tells in, Arjuna tells in text number 23. योत्स्यमानान् अवेक्ष्येऽहं या एते अत्र समागता धातृराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेर्युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः.
Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
So he was angry. I want to see who has come on the side of Dhritarashtra. He is such a rascal. Why these people are taking his side? So he wanted to see who are the army men, who are the enemies. And that's why he told. Okay, can you repeat the meaning of infallible again? So two meanings I told. First meaning was that Krishna never fails to reciprocate with the love of his devotees. First meaning. Second meaning is his position never diminishes, even he may take the role of a chariot driver with a lowly role. Okay, so these are two meanings. So Arjuna said that I want to see these people who are trying to please this evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. So they are also supposed to be evil-minded only. Prabhupada writes the birds of the same feather flock together. So he wanted to see them. Sanjavacha evam to ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारता सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापित्वा रथोत्तमम्. Please read.
Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both the parties.
Please read the purport. The very reciprocal purport. Yeah.
Purport. In this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesha. Sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness or Samadhi. As Hrishikesha are the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus, he did so and spoke as follows.
So we just, I'll speak for 2 minutes and then we'll end. So, Krishna is called Hrishikesha and Arjuna is called Gudakesha. So, Gudakesha has 3 meanings. 2 meanings are given by Prabhupada here. One is Gudak Isa, means he had controlled the sleep. So, when Arjuna, he was there in Gurukul, daytime he would learn the art of shooting, night time he would perfect it by practicing. And that's why when Dronacharya saw that he is such a sincere student, then at night he perfects or practices what I teach in the daytime. That's why he told him that you will be the best warrior, best archer. He became very affectionate. Second reason Gudakesha means he also conquered over ignorance, being a devotee of Krishna. So this is the second reason. He is free from ignorance, he is fully aware of his own position and Krishna's position. Third reason given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is Gudakesha means Guda A Ka Isa. Gud practically means jaggery, Guda. A means Vishnu, Ka means Brahma, and Is means Shiva. One who is going to give the sweetness of jaggery to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. How is he doing that? He is doing that by showing that Krishna, who is Hrishikesha, who is controller of all the senses, becomes subservient to the love of his devotees and becomes the controller of the chariot or horses of a devotee. That means Krishna had taken menial position for the pleasure of his devotee. So Krishna is not just showing his greatness here. Krishna is showing his sweetness here. So that sweetness of Krishna is compared to Guda or Jaggery, and that is enjoyed by both Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. All three of them are relishing it. And that's why Arjuna is called Gudakesa. We find it further in the past times that Brahma anyway was relishing it. He again relished it, the Krishna's sweetness in Brahma Woman Leela. Shiva relished it, and in Banasur Sangram he experienced it further. Lord Vishnu also relished it. How he relished it? He stole the sons of Brahmana in Dwarka just so that Arjuna and Krishna can come to him and he can get the darshan of Arjuna and Krishna. That also comes in Krishna book. So although Mahavishnu is same as Krishna, but Mahavishnu is also attracted to his own form as Krishna, because Krishna's form is form of sweetness, Guda. Now that's why it's like, no, sometimes we also relish some of our photographs where we look very beautiful, very smart, you know. So similarly, Mahavishnu also relishes the form of Krishna, what to say of others. That's why Arjuna is called Gudakesa. Guda, A means Vishnu, Ka means Brahma, and Is means Shiva. Okay. So these are the generally A, Ka, Is are the words used for Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva respectively in the Vedic scriptures. So these are the three meanings of Gudakesa. Okay, fine. So we'll end here. Before that, I'll just give you your homework for the next week. And we request all the devotees to do it positively. So just a minute. So first two can be done by group number 1. What is given for group number 1 and 2 can be done by group number 1. They are very simple. And group number 2 can do the group number 3 task. What is given for group number 3 is the task for group number 2. Okay. So first two are for group number 1. Third one is for group number 2. So this task for the next class.
Group number 1 task is for remain group 1. Group number 3 task for group number 2, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So group 1 and group 2 what is given is for group number 1. Group 3 what is given is for group number 2. Okay, fine. So just we'll end with Prabhupada's quote. Somebody can read that.
So people may ask that by mentioning this great fighter, what spiritual progress we make? Because we are meant for chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So by chanting the names of these great fighters, what do we gain? But the thing is that Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, whenever there is a connection with Krishna, that also becomes Krishna. So these, I mean to say, warriors' name mentioning we should not neglect. Krishna wanted to gather all the demonic power in the battlefield of Kuruchitra and kill them. That was his plan.
श्री प्रभुपाद की, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की, जय गौर प्रेमानंदे, श्री प्रभुपाद की.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.